Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user ThrowAwayWifeKiss. My 41 male wife, 41 female, kissed another man on a night out. I wasn't bothered and now she's causing issues over it. Sorry if the title doesn't make much sense, I didn't know how to word it. A bit of context. We've been together since we were 18. Never had a great sex life after the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most since then. But at the meantime, it's going on 3 years, and although it bothers me, I love her and I love our kids, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I know plenty of friends who are in the same situation. Another bit of context is that I've always been mildly overweight, but always fit as I played a lot of sports until about 10 years ago. That's when I got really ill, and a mixture of meds and comfort eating made me balloon up to nearly 300 pounds. Well, 2 years ago, I decided to do something about it. I'm now around 200, which at 6'2" is the lightest I've been as an adult. I've actually enjoyed using weights and, for the first time in my life, have a bit of abs and some muscle. My wife, having always been far hotter, is pretty obviously insecure about the fact that for the first time that we've been together, women are starting to look at me and message me on my baking pages on social media. For the record, I've never even looked at another woman in that way. Now, on to the night in question. My wife went out with some friends, a mix of single and in a relationship. She looked stunning and I told her so. I even updated my phone home screen to a picture that I took of her, lol. One of the friends she was out with had messaged me about 3 months ago, and the gist was that she knew I got no sex, my wife doesn't realize how lucky she is, and is basically asking me if I'd want to hook up. At the time, I obviously took a screenshot and sent it to my wife. So around 4 AM, my wife gets home and she wakes me up as she gets into bed. I'm half awake but can tell something is wrong and ask what is the matter. She doesn't say anything for a few seconds and as I go to grab her hand, she pulls away. I asked if she wanted me to get her a drink and she said no. Then she just blurts it out and says, "I met a guy tonight and he kissed me. I didn't kiss him back at first, then I did. Then, for the next half hour, we were dancing and constantly kissing." She kept saying sorry and begging me not to leave her. My honest first reaction was, so what? It's only kissing and dancing. I didn't say that. I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. An hour or so later, once I got the right words in my head, I said, "I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and break up our family over some kissing and dancing. And I don't love you any less than I did yesterday, and this isn't something that's going to grow and cause resentment." More or less right on cue, my phone goes off, and it's that friend of hers with a picture and a video of what my wife was doing. This set my wife off again, but my feelings still haven't changed, and a month later, that remains the case. In the month since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't care. She's accused me of kissing other people and more, which is why I didn't care as I was covering up my own indiscretions, and she's accused me of being gay multiple times. Which doesn't make sense. She keeps asking me why I haven't initiated anything with her, even though in the past, she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her, which I have respected. She's basically projecting and it's annoying me as it's putting a strain on us, which she is 100% causing. How do I get through to her that she needs to stop feeling guilty and just move on? Because I have, as it's not a big deal. I was genuinely more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat, lol. Alright OP, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for me to give you advice because I do not agree with your approach. To me, this would be cheating and absolutely grounds for divorce. But you see it differently. That is your decision. I don't agree with it, but it is yours. So to your question, how do you make her understand that this is okay for you? I don't think you can because I don't think that's her goal. Sounds to me like she is actively trying to blow up your relationship because she wants out. But she's too much of a chicken poop to actually pull the trigger herself, so she wants you to do it. For starters, how come she keeps hanging out with a friend of hers that actually propositioned you to cheat on her 3 months ago? And it's that same friend that today sent you a video of her cheating on you. Now, another thing that doesn't make sense is that she's angry with you for doing something that she's asking you to do, which is not to leave her. So again, OP, I don't think you can try to get her to understand that it's not a big deal for you because she doesn't care about that. Honestly, OP, is this the kind of life you want to live? I understand that you have kids, of course, but having kids is not a reason to stay in a crappy marriage. The kids are gonna see it and it's toxic for them. I'm sorry to say, but I don't think there's any way you can salvage this. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What would you do? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Tiny Sheen says, "Brother, I say this with love. Just get a divorce. If it's not this issue, she'll create another one further down the line." And OP responds, "This is a thought that's been creeping into my head. Is she trying to blow up the relationship but make me be the one who leaves?" Yep. Helios says, "What in the actual hell? Your wife kisses another guy and you have no feelings about it? I have to say, the fact that your wife turned it against you is brilliant." So instead of her apologizing profusely, she throws it back to you and say you don't care enough? Wow. Maybe it's my caveman DNA talking, but I would have blown a lid if my wife told me she kissed another guy. I know some people have open relationships, but you never mentioned it, so assuming you don't, maybe she is right and maybe you don't care. And the great Honu says, quote, "Even though in the past she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her," end quote. Did I read that correctly? She doesn't like being touched but let a man kiss her multiple times and she reciprocated? They were also dancing, so I doubt there was any daylight between them. I imagine his hands were all over her and she didn't mind. It sounds like she doesn't like to be touched by you, but is perfectly fine with being touched by someone else. Give her what she wants. Go talk to a lawyer, get your ducks in a row, then tell her you've done what she was looking for, a reaction. Then, if you want to fix things, tell her you want to go to marriage counseling to see what her reaction is. Even without the lawyer thing, if you want this marriage to continue, you both need to go and see someone, as it doesn't sound like she is going to move past this anytime soon, and who knows why she is doing what she's doing. OP's edit. Hi all, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really do appreciate it and I'm overwhelmed you all took the time. I keep getting asked a few questions, so I thought I'd address them here. Over the years, we have been to a few different couples counselors and sex therapists, the latest being last September for both. My wife always feels like they are victimizing her, so we stop going. Nearly all have said, though, that they think she is asexual, and 2 even say she is displaying a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian, which I have brought up to her before and she is adamant she's not. On that note, I've had a lot of messages saying she wants to feel wanted and for me to be more forward with her. This is not true. In all our sessions, she said she doesn't want me trying it on with her. She doesn't even want me to initiate hugs, and just bringing up sex makes her feel under pressure. She let me and our therapists know that if she ever had sex without her initiating, it would be no more than pity sex. As for people saying I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday on the way home from work. I bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend. I send her voice notes of songs I'm listening to that remind me of her. I tell her I love her every day. I run her a bath every night. This isn't me showing off. This is how I was brought up to show love to those who said I must have been brought up in an unloving home. People have said that if I don't get jealous, I don't love her. If she told me she was having an emotional affair, she spent hours on the phone with someone else laughing and joking, she snuggled on a sofa eating chocolates and watching TV with someone, etc., I'd be devastated. A dance and a kiss isn't a big deal to me, and not even close to divorce. OP's edit number 2. Sorry for these. It's 7 AM in the morning here now, the day after I posted this. I've been talking to my wife since 6 and told her she's got a week to agree to go back to couples counseling, and she's got to stick it out this time and not just accuse them of taking sides and refuse to go back. She said no. She said they all bully her and make her out to be the bad guy. She said I went back on my word that I forgive her and won't resent her. I said this isn't about the kiss, it's about her reaction since the kiss, and it feels like she's purposefully trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She just got up and stormed out of the room. She then got dressed and said she was going out until I went to work. So, the majority of the community is just as confused as I am about OP's take, but still some people did try to give him some advice. And in OP's edit, we got a lot more context regarding the type of relationship they have. And in the second edit, I think she proved everybody's point that she's trying to tank the relationship. I mean, she got called out and she just got up and left. Hopefully, that'll make OP snap out of this thing. But in any case, we've got the update, so let's move on with that to see how this story ends. It's been nearly 2 weeks since I made the post, and the short update is that we are getting divorced. I said in the edits that I told her I wanted us to go back to couples counseling and sex therapy. She said no to both as we had gone before and she felt bullied. She said at sex therapy that unless she initiates touching, not just sex, any touching like hugs or hand holding, it will be against her will and will be forced or pity affection from her. The sex therapist said it's very unreasonable and that's why she felt bullied there. I tried to ask her a few questions too. Are you a lesbian or at least bi? Don't be stupid. Are you asexual? No. What did he have that I don't? Nothing. I just wanted to do it. Why don't you ever want to do that with me? Don't know. What can I do to make you want to do that to me? Don't know. Do you want me to take the initiative and try it on with you more? F no, I'll tell you when I want it, don't guess. So she refused the therapy and gave me no straight answers. She also said I've gone back on my word about not letting the kiss split us up because now it is. I said it's not the kiss, it's your behavior since then that has caused me to want divorce. She said that if it's my decision to divorce and it's all my fault, no it isn't, then I should be the one to tell our kids and she will have no part in it. That was hard. I didn't tell them everything. They are too young for that. I just told them that mommy and daddy have decided we shouldn't live together anymore. It's something a lot of grown-ups do, but it's not the kids' fault, and they are still loved and cherished by both of us. As soon as they were told, my wife left for her sisters, and in the 3 days since, I haven't heard anything from her. I've tried speaking to her about the kids as they miss her, but she reads my messages and ignores me. I'm keeping a record of her not answering the phone to me or my eldest son, and also how long it's been. It's for my own sake if she tries to twist it on me and say I left her for no reason and she did nothing wrong since she left of her own accord and has chosen not to come back. A lot of people asked about the friend and why they still talk after she tried it on with me. As I understand it, my wife tried to get the friend group to cut the friend out, but they all pretty much refused. So my wife just chose to ignore her in group settings. On the night in question, the friend approached my wife and told her if she didn't tell me, she would send me the video. So my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced. I've also spoken to a couple of other friends in the group and asked what's been going on that I'm not privy to. Apparently, my wife was sexting her friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. My wife has also been boasting about how she has me under her thumb and she gets away with giving me nothing and I'm too scared to ask. The friend apparently saw me out shopping one day and decided I was now more effable and thought she'd try and exact some revenge on my wife, so she didn't really want me. And just to be clear, regarding that friend group, I wouldn't touch any of them with a barge pole. I was just a pawn in this weird friend group, one of many internal beefs with each other, which I've found out about in the last few days. Basically, they all seem to hate each other and mess with each other's partners. I've got that video and all the screenshots of her sexting her friend's boyfriends. Also, there are some screenshots of a WhatsApp group chat where she has been posting pictures for strangers to comment on, but it's blatantly her as she has a tattoo in a place that's unique to her. There are also some other videos and pictures of nights out, which her friend group has sent me. I'll be honest now, and I feel incredibly guilty about it. But when she left, my body and soul seemed to take a massive sigh of relief. It was like a black cloud that was dripping eggshells on the floor for me to avoid constantly is finally gone. I feel terrible feeling this way, but I feel like I'm my 6'2" height now, rather than a browbeaten 3-foot tall who was scared even to say anything for fear of being told I was wrong or insulted or ridiculed. It's like the blinders have been taken off. On Saturday, I bought some stuff to do some baking, and I must normally look like a right weirdo at the shop as I stand there arguing with myself if buying it is worth the arguing and name-calling I'll get when I get home. I put some stuff in my basket, and as I walked away, I just stopped and didn't feel right. I just put it in my basket without thinking. Then I thought, this is my life now. I spent the day today baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs and watching cartoons, and I haven't stopped smiling all day. I haven't winced or broken out in a sweat worrying I'm about to be told off about being too noisy or watching the wrong thing on TV or there's a wrapper on the floor, etc. Finally, I'll never take her back. I know a lot of people called me spineless in my last post, but I'm one of those people who, once I make a decision, I stick to it. Thank you everyone for your support on my last post. I appreciate you all. Willoughby, I have to say, I didn't get this impression from your first post because there's a lot of context here in the update, but you were definitely in an abusive relationship and I'm really happy for you to have gotten out of it. The marriage you had with your future ex-wife is not how a real, supportive and loving marriage should be. And hopefully you get some help or not if you don't need it, but that you are able to wash this whole thing off of you and are able to build yourself back up. So on that note, I'm going to wish you the very best in the future, Upi. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Verknisterer. An unpleasant surprise for my brother after he ruined my plans for a SingStar party. The story happened several years ago. My brother was 14 at the time and I was 18. There was a weekend coming up where our parents weren't there on a Saturday, so I wanted to do an extensive SingStar session with some friends. It was much more pleasant without parents at home, and we also wanted to enjoy a few beers. The SingStar game belonged to me, but the PlayStation belonged to my brother who got it for Christmas. I had a gaming PC and was not a console gamer. My brother knew exactly that I had planned this and initially said that I could use his PlayStation for the day. But 2 days before, he suddenly said he needed it himself and couldn't lend it. Of course, I was annoyed, but he didn't care. He became more and more insolent. I also spoke to my parents, but they said it wasn't nice of him because he had previously agreed. At the end of the day, it's his PlayStation and I have to accept that. Well, I thought I'll just look for another date and found the perfect opportunity. A few weeks later, we were invited to the silver wedding anniversary of my parents' friends. My brother had talked his way out of it again because he always found this couple quite boring and always begged to stay at home when we visited them, which sometimes worked. He also had a great aversion to formal clothing, which was, of course, essential for this event. So I thought if I could convince my parents to take my brother to the party instead of me, that would be awesome. Not only would I have the house to myself, but it would also be a good revenge on my brother. He still had a suit from the wedding of our aunt 1.5 years ago, and I knew he would hate it so bad if my parents forced him into it and dragged him along to this silver wedding. I asked my parents about it and suggested that they take him to the wedding instead of me so that I could have the house to myself as compensation for the last time and be able to have a SingStar party with my friends. And to my surprise, my parents actually liked the idea. My brother had made several missteps lately and had upset our parents, and they thought it was a good opportunity to bring him back down to earth. On the morning of the day of the silver wedding, my brother found out that he had to go there instead of me. Of course, he rebelled and fought back desperately, but my parents had the right leverage to break his resistance quickly. It was hilarious how his angry protests quickly turned into self-pitying begging as he tried in vain to convince my parents to at least spare him the bow tie. He also looked grumpy when he left. I, on the other hand, had a really cool day afterwards with some friends, several beers, and so many hours of SingStar. The thought of my cheeky brother being trapped in his suit, shirt, and bow tie for hours at this silver wedding always brought a smile to my face. He was a bit mad at me for the next few weeks, but that went away and his behavior improved a bit after that too. Well, OP, sounds like you played the right cards with your parents and got your party, so good for you. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.